So we were discussing transmissibility. We defined the transmissibility ratio Ft by F0. This is force transmissibility, where this is the formula root of 1 plus 2 zeta eta whole square divided by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. So this is talking about force transmissibility. Force transmissibility. There is another thing called as motion transmissibility. Motion transmissibility or also called as displacement transmissibility. Displacement transmissibility, or it is also called as base excitation. Base excitation, or there is another term called as support motion. Support motion. So all these things means the same: motion transmissibility or displacement transmissibility or base excitation or support motion. All four things are the same. So suppose you have a say this is a structure which is vibrating with motion x. Okay, so this has a spring and a damper system, and then you have some mass over here. So this is vibrating with amplitude y. Okay, so the relation, this is k, this is c. So the relation would be, the transmissibility ratio would be y by x, and the formula to calculate would be the same thing. So whether it is x by y or y by x, how do we know it? So the transmissibility ratio is always output by input. Okay, if you remember this, that is enough. So transmissibility ratio is always output by input. So what is the output over here? So this is moving, because of that this is moving. Okay, so this is the one which is causing the movement for this one to move. So the output would be y and the input is x. In force transmissibility, what happens? In force transmissibility, there would be a machine of mass m, and then there would be a spring and a damper system connected to the foundation. Okay, so in this, which is the output, which is the input? So the output is to the foundation, okay, and input is the external force here. So it is force transmitted. So it is force transmitted divided by external force applied. So this is transmissibility ratio. So it is always output by input, whether it is force transmissibility or displacement transmissibility. Okay, so since the formula is the same, I'm not going to explain more about these things. This you already know. This is displacement transmissibility and this is force transmissibility, and the formula to calculate that will be the same. So output by input. Okay, so this is moving because of this movement. Okay, so this becomes the input and this becomes the output. So it is y by x. Suppose if I write y here and x here, then it would be x by y. So don't just go with y by x or x by y. See what is the situation here. What is x here, what is y here? Just see here and then decide whether it is x by y or y by x, because this can be varying in different numericals. Okay, the question would be x over here and y over here, and then this if you by heart and write as y by x, it would lead to a problem. So always remember it is output by input, and see what is the input, what is the output, and then write this accordingly. So next we'll move on to, with these concepts we'll move on to vibrometer. It is a measuring instrument, vibration measuring instrument. It measures the displacement. So we'll understand how it measures. Okay, so you have a structure which is vibrating. Okay, it is vibrating. So there is some vibration over here with respect to the time, and you have a frame. So you have a frame attached to this machine. So this is the machine which is vibrating, or any structure which is vibrating. Okay, so this is the frame and it is attached to this. So you want to measure this. Okay, you want to measure how much is this. So for that, what you do, you take a mass, some mass m, called as a seismic mass. It is called as a seismic mass. You attach a spring to that, and then a damper. Okay, so this is K and this is C, and in this frame there is a scale. Okay, where you can take the measurement, and let this mass have a pointer attached. Okay, which can point to the scale. Okay, so this mass has a pointer to the scale, and this scale is in the frame, and this mass will vibrate as x. So this is y and this is x. Okay, so here, so this is y of t would be y sine omega t, and x of t would be x sine omega t. In the displacement transmissibility, we just said this is y by x as the transmissibility ratio. But here, when it comes to measuring how much this machine is displacing or vibrating, okay, how much is the displacement you want to measure in this machine. So for that, when you use this mass and the spring damper combination, what you have to really measure is the relative displacement. So why is that? Because when this pointer moves and reaches the scale, this machine is also moving and this mass is also moving. So you need to measure the relative displacement. Okay, so what is relative displacement? Say take z is equal to x minus y. Okay, so x is the movement of this small mass and y is the movement of this machine. Okay, so z is equal to x minus y. So if you have to draw the free body diagram, it would be m. So this is x is the displacement for this. So this is k into x minus y is this relative displacement of the spring, and c into x dot minus y dot. So this relative moment is like you are trying to draw on a sheet of paper where the paper is also moving and the pen is also moving. Okay, so there is a relative motion. So it's like that. So to read this scale, you take the relative displacement. So this you don't do in a displacement transmissibility, but You do this when you are discussing vibrometer. Okay, so relative displacement, z is equal to x minus y. So if you have to write the relation, it would be mx double dot plus k into x minus y plus c into x dot minus y dot is equal to 0. Okay, mx double dot plus k into x minus y plus c into x dot minus y dot equal to 0. So I'll just write that equation over here again. Mx double dot plus k into x minus y plus c into x dot minus y dot is equal to 0. So we know that z is equal to x minus y, which is nothing but the relative displacement of the mass and the vibrating structure, okay, of the seismic mass minus the displacement of the vibrating structure. So so what will be x? X would be equal to z plus y. So mx double dot can be written as mz double dot plus my double dot plus k into x minus y plus c into x dot minus y dot equal to 0, or mz double dot plus this x minus y I put it as z plus x dot minus y dot I put it as cz dot is equal to minus my double dot. So we said y is equal to y sine omega t, y dot is equal to omega y cos omega t, and y double dot would be minus omega square y sine omega t. So if we put this y double dot over here, you get mz double dot plus cz dot plus kz is equal to m omega square y sine omega t. Okay, so if you remember the rotating unbalance derivation, where we said m naught is the unbalanced mass, E is the eccentricity, omega square is equal to f naught. Okay, so this we have derived from the unbalanced masses, rotating unbalanced mass. So this is similar to that, m dot m omega square, and y is this E. Okay, so m omega square y sine omega t, it is of that form. So how do you the formula for this rotating unbalanced mass was mx divided by m naught E is equal to eta square divided by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. So if you look at that, so this is mx by m naught into E is equal to this. So this we have derived in the notes previously. Please check the notes for this. We have derived this. So this m naught E omega square can be written as m omega square y here. So so this formula holds good for this as well. Okay, so it is nothing but, what would be this? This would be z. This is z divided by y. Z divided by y is equal to eta square divided by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. Okay, just look into that rotating unbalanced mass derivation. You will understand how we got this. Okay, so since this m naught e omega square is of this type m omega square y, I'm taking this final formula which we derived for the rotating unbalanced from this. Okay, so this I can write it as z, because this x becomes z over here because it's all z here, and this is y because m omega square y, here it is e, so here it is y, eta square divided by this. So z by y is this one. Now what are we trying to measure? We are trying to measure this, the vibration of this machine, the displacement of this machine is what we are trying to measure. And what are we using for that? We are using a seismic mass, a spring and a damper. Now we know that this z is a relative displacement. This z is a relative displacement, and that is what we can measure. Okay, we can measure z. Z is equal to x minus y. We use that pointer and the scale, okay, which I showed you earlier, and we can measure z, but we cannot measure y directly. So if you want to measure, if you want to know what is y, so you would like to make z as equal to y. Okay, so the relative displacement, whatever you are measuring with that pointer and that scale, so you want to make that equal to the vibration of this machine structure. Only then you will be able to get the reading. So if z by y should be equal to 1, z is equal to y, so z by y equal to 1 is equal to eta square divided by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. So if this equation need to be satisfied, then eta not necessarily exactly equal to 1 but approximately equal to 1. For this to be approximately equal to 1, eta should be greater than or equal to 3. So if this condition is met, then this will be this whole thing will be approximately equal to 1. So what is the advantage that you are getting? The advantage is the relative displacement z, which you are measuring with that pointer and the scale in the frame. So that will be equal to the vibration of the machine that you want to measure. So you don't have the problem of x over here. Okay, the moment of that seismic mass. So z equal to y. So how much ever this vibrates, this machine vibrates, that much you are measuring. Okay, this is satisfied only when this is satisfied. Okay, what is this? Omega by omega n is eta, should be greater than or equal to 3. What is omega n? Omega n is the root k by m. M is the seismic mass, and that spring what you used for making that vibrometer, that stiffness. Okay, so if you can, for omega by omega n greater than or equal to 3, so this omega n should be smaller. If this omega n must be smaller, then this mass should be larger. Okay, so you don't want to use a very big seismic mass, huge seismic mass. So what you do, you have a relation of z and y, z by y. So if you know how much is z, you can get how much is y. Okay, not necessarily be equal to 1, but even then you can know the relation. But for the design criteria for a vibrometer would be the omega by omega n should be greater than or equal to 3, so that whatever you measure z, that becomes y. Hope you have understood this concept of vibrometer. Thank you.